What up, what up, what up? It's your favorite shit talking squirrel back from the YouTube video. So, do you guys remember this piece of shit that left his girlfriend beaten to a bloody pulp in a ditch? Allegedly. Well, if you don't, I'm gonna leave a link in the description, but there's also a tag popping up on screen now. You can go back and watch that really quick. It's a pretty short video, but yeah, that guy allegedly, whatever, beat his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. But the two attorneys in there, I said in that video that they were both really impressive, and it makes sense. They're both at the top of their game, handling, alleged murder charges. But I had said in that video that it would be cool to see them in action if that case were to go to trial. Well, in Judge Simpsons' court today, may have gotten just a little bit of a preview as to what that might look like. Jessica Blanch and this public defender got to question a witness for the preliminary exam of a domestic abuser. So it's kind of a short clip, but any chance to see the Ice Queen in action, I'm all for it. This could serve as kind of like a sampling or like a pH test of what this upcoming murder trial might look like. So I figured it'd be cool to, pop it up on the channel. So yeah, let's check it out.
Court does call the case. The people of the state of Michigan versus William White, Jr.
Jessica Blanch, appearing on behalf of people.
We're ready in that matter. Brown, Deputy Chief Public Defender, been with and on behalf of Mr. White.
All right, it's date and time set for preliminary examination. Are we ready to proceed?
Judge, we are not ready on count one. I do not have the victim present, and I cannot go on alternative proofs on that count. However, I do have count two, and I believe he wants to hold on the R&O. I do have a witness here.
All right, very good. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm sequestering.
Hold on. Hold on a second. I don't know.
Ready to proceed, Your Honor. Thank you.
Next time you might want to mute the mic. I guess they're ready. All right.
My first officer is Officer Leathers. He's going to testify first. I sequester my other officer, and then Detective Lee is here, who's my OIC.
All right, very good. All right,
Call my first witness, Judge.
you may.
Officer Leathers to the stand.
All right, please come forward to be sworn. Get out there, because I do. Sir, if you please face me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Have a seat. When you're having a seat, please state and spell your name for the record.
Alex Leathers, ALEXLEAPHER.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm gonna direct your attention to June 12th, 2023 at around 12:40 p.m. Were you working that day?
I was.
What shift were you working?
Day shift.
Okay, and were you in a marked patrol car?
I was.
Were you dispatched to 3421 Platte Road, apartment 2 in Ann Arbor?
I was.
And what was the nature of that dispatch?
It was reference making contact with a suspect that was easy to arrest for domestic assault.
Okay, and who was the suspect you were supposed to arrest?
William Wood.
Is he in the courtroom today?
He did.
Can you point to him, identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
He's wearing a green top.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect the witness has made it in court identification of the defendant.
Record shows so reflect without objection.
Did you come into contact with the defendant? Did you arrest him?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened when you put him under arrest?
I had instructed him to turn around, place his hands behind his back as he was under arrest for domestic assault. He had stated, "No, I'm not, no, I'm not," and then proceeded to attempt to walk away from us, pulling his arm away as I reached out for his wrist. And he started to walk up the stairs, like running away from us. At that time, I grabbed his legs and we went down to the stairs, so fell down together. Assisting officers also assisted. We were able to gain control of him. I held his other wrist. His officer Spratt had his left arm. We were able to place him in cuffs.
Okay, so when you're saying we, it was you and Officer Spratt? Okay, did you transport him to Ann Arbor Police Department?
I did.
And when you arrived there, what happened?
So we arrived, I took him up to our security area in the back. Procedure is to search him one more time. I did that, released him out of his handcuffs, and then filled out our paperwork that we're required to do. I then instructed him I was going to take him to our other room for fingerprints and photographs. At that time, he became upset. He had punched the wall, which was a concrete wall, and then flipped the table, which I was sitting on the other side of.
So he flipped the table towards you or at you?
Right.
Okay. And then what happened?
At that moment, there was a sergeant in the room as well, which is procedure to have a supervisor in there. We had grabbed him, detained him with a cup, and cuffed him to the bench.
Okay, Judge, I have no more questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Officer Leathers. How are you? All right. So, you testified that you got a call to appear at Platte Road, is that right?
Yes.
What was the address at Platte Road?
3421, apartment 2.
All right, and you testified that was a domestic call.
Correct.
Now, you stated that you had a name. How were you given the name of the suspect?
Dispatch had that information.
Okay, all right, so you got that through dispatch. Were you given any information as to whether or not this incident was ongoing, was completed? What information did you have with regard to that?
The information that I had from dispatch when it was radioed out was that there was a victim of domestic assault at our front desk of the station that had made a report for domestic assault, and there was PC for arrest with Wilton White.
Okay, so the person who was alleging that they had been the victim of the assault was at a police station already?
Correct.
Okay, and do you know the time difference between the time that this alleged assault would have occurred from the time the person would have gotten to the station? Okay. So at any rate, you were going to pick up the suspect, specifically going to arrest him for the alleged domestic violence. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So at this point, the two would have been separated. The victim and the suspect would have been in different places as far as you know.
Correct.
Okay. And did you have any information about whether this was a felony or misdemeanor?
I did not have that information at the time. All the information I had was that there was PC to arrest for domestic assault.
Okay, so you're going to make arrest, whether or not it was a misdemeanor or felony offense. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so you got to the Platte Road address,
Correct.
and did you knock and announce yourself?
I did.
Okay.
Numerous times.
Okay. Now, did someone answer the door?
Yes.
And who was that who answered the door?
Willing White.
Okay, all right. And did you speak to Mr. White?
I did.
How long did you speak to him?
I don't know the exact time, but it probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Okay. Did you ask him about the allegations?
I did.
Did he admit to having been involved in any sort of
He,
domestic dispute?
he denied having any encounter, any situation, physical altercation.
Okay, so at this point, you still don't know if it's a felony offense or a misdemeanor offense that you're operating from. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, you didn't see any domestic assault take place in your presence. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And so after a minute, you decide that you're going to go ahead and make the arrest. Okay. Were you able to verify who Mr. White was? How were you able to do that?
Verbally, I asked him if he was Mr. White.
Okay. Did you ask for any identification?
I did not have that.
Okay. Did you have a description of the person that you were supposed to be arrested?
Outside of a black male, that's all I knew.
Okay. All right. So you informed Mr. White then that he was going to be under arrest, and his response was, "No, I'm not."
Right.
Okay. And at that point, he turned around and went, well, let's back up. Where you are as you're talking to him, is there a stairwell somewhere in the area?
Yeah, so as you would open his apartment door, there's a stairway directly at the door.
Okay, so the stairwell goes up to his apartment or the apartment?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so when you're talking to him, he's in the stairwell and you're in the stairwell. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm essentially in the doorway.
Right.
He's right there at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay. And so at the point that you tell him you're under arrest, he says, "No, I'm not." Okay. And does he turn then to go up the stairs?
Yeah, if you can, he pulls his arm away. As I go to reach for his wrist, he pulls his
Okay.
arm and starts to walk up the stairs.
Okay, so had you actually made contact with the wrist before he pulls away?
No,
Okay, so before you can grab him, he turns around and heads up the stairs. And your action is to grab him by the leg
correct,
and pull him down.
correct.
Okay, and once you pull him down, you said there's another officer involved. That's Officer Strat, is it?
Correct,
Sprat. Okay, thank you. That's SPRATT.
correct.
Okay. And this entire time when you're there and you're engaged with Mr. White, is Officer Spratt there as well?
Yes,
Okay. So you pull him down by the leg, and then it says at this point that Officer Spratt aids you in trying to get Mr. White under control.
correct.
Okay. And do you know if Mr. White is injured at all in pulling him down the stairs?
At that time, no.
No. At that time, no. Is he injured later?
I don't believe he was.
Okay. So you get Mr. White into handcuffs
Correct,
and you take him to your police vehicle?
correct.
Okay. Is Officer Spratt riding with you in that vehicle?
No, I was solo in that vehicle.
Oh, okay. So he takes you and Officer Spratt take Mr. White to your vehicle?
Yes, there were other officers on scene as well
Okay.
that were able to assist, so they walked him to my patrol vehicle, placed him in it. At that time, my body camera had fallen off in the altercation. I was putting it back on the person.
Okay, I see. All right. And so how do you determine whose vehicle a person goes into?
I was the initial officer dispatched to it.
Okay. And so that's basically the basis. Whoever gets there first, that's the one who takes the person in.
That's how we handled it in this
Okay.
situation.
Is that typical protocol or is there some other protocol for it?
That would be typical.
Okay. So you drive him to this here to the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department or to the Ann Arbor Police Department?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so once you get him there, there's a procedure that you follow. Is that correct? Okay. You take him in to be fingerprinted
Correct,
and photographed. Is that right?
correct.
Okay. And were you able to complete the photograph?
I was not.
Okay. Were you able to complete the fingerprints?
I was not.
Okay. You said at this point, you're talking to him and he becomes angry. Is that right? What you would describe as angry.
Correct.
You said that at some point there's a table that he flips over. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you're talking to him, where are you standing?
I'm sitting in a chair across the table that was flipped. I'm sitting in the chair across it. He's sitting on the other side on a bench.
Okay. So, and what are you saying to him at this point? Why are you talking to him at this point?
Because at this point, I'm explaining to him what the next steps would be. Initially, in that room is where we're going to search one more time. We're going to take the handcuffs off. We're going to take off any belts, anything like that, and then filling out the required paperwork. So we had done that in that room. I was then explaining to him, we're going to move to this next room where the fingerprints and photographs would take place.
So at this point, you've already taken his belt.
I can't recall if he had a belt on at the time,
Okay.
but everything had been completed.
So you've already conducted a search then.
Right.
And if he had a belt, you've taken the belt.
Right.
And what else would you do in that situation? Take his shoes or shoelaces or anything like that?
You just make sure he doesn't have like any necklaces, anything like that. If he did have one, put it in a proper bag.
Okay. And all of that is completed. And you're talking to him, telling him that you're going to take him into another room. Is that right?
Right.
And you say at this point, he flips a table.
Yes, first he was with his right hand, he punched the wall, which was immediately to his right.
Right.
And he stood up and flipped the table.
All right. So you were not near the wall that he punched. Is that right?
Right.
Doesn't make any threats or statements to he's going to get you or beat you or anything when he punches the wall, does he?
He did not.
He does not say this is aimed at you, officer, does he?
He did not.
Okay. And when he flips the table, does he say anything like I'm gonna flip this over on you. I'm gonna beat you with this table, anything to that effect.
He did not state.
Okay, all right, so he just flips the table over. And it's in your direction, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And after he's flipped the table over, does he say any threats to you?
No,
Before that, does he say any threats to you?
he did not.
Okay, and at no point does he ever make any threats to you, does he?
I do not recall him making any threats to him.
Okay, all right. And so once he flips the table over, what do you do next?
At that point, I had walked toward him with the sergeant that was in the room, and we had detained him, put him on the bench, placed him on the bench, and my sergeant was able to place a handcuff on his left wrist, I believe, and we cuffed him to that bench.
Is he saying anything at the time that you're detaining him or cuffing him?
No words that I could recall.
Okay, so you don't recall any threats at that point either to you or the sergeant, is that correct? Okay. All right, thank you, Officer Leathers. I don't have any further questions for you at this point.
Thank you. Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may step down, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Legal arrest is to count 2.
All right. Any witnesses for the defense?
None for the defense, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I believe it's a question of fact for the charge fact and reserve any further argument for rebuttal as you bind this matter to circuit court.
Respond.
No, no, we would leave this at this point in the discretion of.
Based on the testimony, just as to the charge of assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer, what is very clear from the testimony is that the officer, both officers actually, but Officer Leathers was involved in his duties and was performing his duties as a police officer, and that the defendant did either resist and or obstruct the performance, and one can take it either at the scene on Platte Road, or they could take it at his the actions of the defendant once at the Ann Arbor Police Station. So for those reasons, the court would bind the defendant over. The court is going to decline to add a count because actually those are 2 separate incidents, and the court could add a separate count, but the court's going to decline to do that. So the defendant's bound over on a single count.
Thank you, Your Honor. We acknowledge receipt of the information. Well, I guess it has to be modified.
Have to be modified, Judge.
All right,
Waive presentation of that information at this time.
all right. And how does your client plead?
I ask that the court accept a not guilty.
Okay. Court will, defendant pleading not guilty, court will enter that plea. Pretrial will be set for
July 17th at 1:30 PM with Judge Slay.
July 17th, 2023, 1:30 before Judge Slay.
Next time, well, I guess I should sign the information. You want me to sign?
Well, actually, you can probably strike and then sign.
May approach.
You may.
Did I not say that right, Judge?
Did not say what?
That you would enter a not guilty.
Oh, no, it was clear. I'm sorry. I just.
You don't have to- you don't need to-
Oh. What'd you do with the second page, bro?
It's okay, I can send it. I can send it separate.
Is that my pen? No, you said it absolutely. Bond will continue. I think that's where I was, wasn't it?
Well, there you have it, folks. Judge Simpson is just so charming, man. I can watch his clips all day, every day. But you got a little Ice Queen in there, plus the the defense attorney for our alleged murderer. I thought it was a cool clip. It was really cool to see Jessica Blanch in action. You can see the difference in practice. Blanch, she went in there, she knew exactly the question she was going to ask, and she just fired them off one after another. Boom, boom, boom. It was clear she was very well prepared. She got in, she got out, no muss, no fuss. She didn't really sow the record with any laying a foundation, just here are the facts. And the facts are in her favor, so she really didn't need to mince words. The kid's girlfriend claimed that he hit her, he arrested the officer and he flipped the table onto said police officer. So, you know, she's got first-hand accounts on both. I get where the defense attorney might want to construct a narrative a little bit to lay that foundation, but I don't know. I don't think it really helped him. I think he would have benefited, perhaps, from being a little more streamlined in his cross like Blanch was. You know, ask the questions to instill doubt about the IDE and not really talking to the guy, but, like, leave the rest out of it. I don't know. He didn't really help his client with those questions after. I mean, I don't think so anyways. What do you guys think? Who did a better job with this witness? Let me know in the comments. I think that kid would be a damn fool to push this all the way to trial. I mean, whatever the state offers him for a plea deal, you know, just take it and run. But, you know, who knows? All right, guys, this was fun. Oh, we have Fresh Hours hearing for that alleged attempted murderer guy next week. So keep an eye out for that video. And, yeah, we will see you in the next one. Okay? All right, bye, guys.